Did Drake stop ScHoolboy Q from performing in Toronto? That's what Q seems to think, and a lot of people seem to think that as well. We're going to get into it with an updated statement from the Toronto Police Department. ScHoolboy Q was supposed to perform today at the History venue in Toronto, but he went to Twitter to let us know last night that the show had been canceled. This is what Q said. They just canceled my show in Toronto, with a laughing emoji. Canadian police don't want nobody from TDE performing. Q is, of course, referencing Top Dog Entertainment, the label that he was on, as well as Kendrick Lamar. If you remember, ScHoolboy Q made a cameo in the Not Like Us music video. He was at the Ken and Friends The Pop Out as part of Black Hippie. So, of course, we know that Q is on Kendrick's side. They're brothers, they're former label mates, they've known each other for years. So between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, of course, Q is going to be Team Kendrick. In his tweets, Q doesn't mention Drake by name, but it's pretty clear we know what he's implying. Because he's Team Kendrick, Drake, the Toronto police, whatever the powers are in Canada, they don't want Q coming and performing in their hometown. He continues by saying that Top Dog was actually hanging out with Lil Wayne and Baby not too long ago, and that Party Next Door, who's a part of OVO, just had a show in LA at the Palladium. Then this is where things get a little dark. He says, if we wanted to get y'all, we would have just did it. Now when somebody get hurt, don't cry, ... I don't like that tone. I don't like what that opens up. Like, there's no need for that. Then he quickly continues and says, actually, I get it. Never mind, this shit is low-key hilarious. Low-key hilarious. I hate the way that Q types. Like, I love him, and I love him as an artist. I absolutely hate the way that he types. He says, I don't know why ... put me in that fucking video. I mean, you didn't have to go to the video if you didn't want to. And you look great in it, so we wanted more of you in the video, Q. So, of course, hip-hop media went crazy, and it became a whole story about Drake trying to curtail ScHoolboy Q and somehow get back at Kendrick Lamar. Let's look at the actual reporting. Billboard Canada got this statement from the Toronto Police Service. They said the decision to cancel this event was made by the venue, not by the Toronto Police Service. So that's from a spokesperson from the Toronto Police Service. These are the things that I wish more sites would do, actually reach out to law enforcement, reach out to credible sources, and get a statement. Instead, they're just going with whatever narrative is being implied on social media. It's really irresponsible. Billboard Canada did say that they reached out to Live Nation, and at the time of this article, they have yet to receive comment. Just out of curiosity, I went to History Toronto's page on social media, and this is kind of interesting. This is how they describe themselves in their bio. Toronto's newest live entertainment venue, brought to you by Live Nation Ontario in collaboration with Champagne Poppy. I've never seen that before. I'm not familiar if Drake has some sort of ownership in History. So I did some research because, you know, Google is your friend. This is according to the outlet Toronto Life from 2 years ago. They did a whole rundown of this History venue, and it looks like it's very much an official partnership with Drake. You look at the backstage area, the green rooms, they all seem to be inspired by Drake's experiences. According to this outlet, artwork is pulled from Drake's own personal collection. There are high school photos of Drake, tour set lists, signed Godfather posters, and portraits of Aaliyah and Virgil Abloh. Okay. So if we're to believe that History is not just a Live Nation venue, it is a Drake venue, like, come on, Q. There is no way you or anyone related to TDE, the 20v1 beef, Kendrick, any of that can be performing there right now. This is analogous to Drake coming into Compton and wanting to perform in front of Tam's Burgers. That's Kendrick's territory. In the same way, this is Drake's hometown. This venue appears to have some sort of an official partnership with him. I wouldn't be surprised if financially he's invested in it, not to mention also creatively directing the venue, something I've never seen before, by the way. So you can't be mad. Again, I have no proof that Drake was the one who pulled the plug, but the very optics are you shouldn't be performing at this venue. And I'm not sure who wasn't able to message that to the artist. That's where his agent, his managers, his team should have explained this isn't about you versus Toronto or you versus the country of Canada. This is ostensibly, maybe, related to just you and Drake. If you watch my channel, you know I'm Team Kendrick, but in this case, I can't be mad if Drake says, you cannot perform at the one venue in my hometown that I have ownership of. Like, I get it. It's his backyard. It's his house. It's his man cave. He has every right to decide who he wants there. The other part of the conversation is safety. We saw what happened when Rick Ross was in Vancouver. As I mentioned in my previous video breaking down what happened to Rick Ross when he was intact at a Vancouver music festival, we still don't really know the catalyst or who were the players involved. Luckily, Rick is okay. All we know is Not Like Us was playing, and then Rick seems to be attacked by people backstage. As I said in that video, a lot of you said that I was sensitive or I cared too much. This should never escalate to the point that these artists, their fans, or bystanders are getting hurt. Let's say for sake of argument, ScHoolboy did perform at this Toronto venue. I don't want anything to happen to him, to his crew, and also the fans that come there. They just want to have a good time, enjoy a concert. But things happen, things escalate. All it takes is one bad actor who wants to make a name for themselves or think that they're doing something, whether it be for clout or reputation, that can ruin it for everyone. And at this time, we don't want anyone to get hurt. This should be a fun beef. It's something a lot of us have said since day one. Focus on the records, focus on the music, and we want to make sure that everyone stays safe. So what do you think happened? Do you think that this is one of those situations where Drake made the call, the special champagne poppy call? Do you think this was the venue making a smart decision to possibly preempt any safety issues, anything that could have happened that would have escalated, harming ScHoolboy or harming the fans? Do you think it was the right idea? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments.